So after putting up the 1.43 video, I decided to spend quite a bit more time in the Tigercat. We had a pretty healthy discussion back and forth about what is this plane flight model wise, battle rating wise, is it overpowered, and so on. So I spent literally all day grinding it from stock to about 90% fully upgraded. And I still have very mixed feelings on this plane. I understand both sides. Some are saying it's fine, some are saying it's completely overpowered. I'll try to give you a bit more history on the plane and then talk about what I think about in-game and some tips to people who are actually struggling with this plane. Real quick though, a little history, actually kind of funny. This plane right here, and you're seeing the blue one, is based off that silver one right there. The XP50 is kind of the prototype. What they learned from that plane went into the Tigercat. So the Tigercat was essentially what they called a convoy fighter that got rolled into a... Navy wanted their own heavy fighter that could take off carriers. To my knowledge, the Tigercat never actually took off or was clear for service to take off carriers. They had a lot of problems with the arresting, hook not holding. They had some problems with the tail. And then they had some problems with wing failure when trying to land on a carrier. So to my knowledge, it was only used as a marine plane a little bit, and then kind of like a Navy grounded plane. It has, to my knowledge, the only time it saw actual military deployment was in the early stages of Korea, and I think it had like 2 PO2 kills, and that was it. So this plane does not have a very long pedigree of military history or service records we can really pull from, and data and from engagements or whatnot. It was used in the States for quite a bit as fire bombers. They'd actually put these huge water tanks underneath its belly that would drop fire. I don't believe there's any of those still active today. I know that they were doing it until like about the mid-90s, late 90s, but anyway. So that's what the Tigercat's role in history. A lot of them got crushed. Some of them were used as drones or, pull target drones or so on. So anyway. So this plane, as you can see, it climbs pretty, we'll call it healthy. Let's be generous. But these are two R2800 engines. I believe these models ran about 2100, 2200 horsepower. I think 2100 horsepower is more accurate. They did have water injection in them, so that's where you're getting the wet from. And this sucker was meant to basically be kind of an interdiction plane. And it was meant to climb, and that's what it does. Where my problem with the plane is that it's getting air starts in some maps, and I'll tack on a Battle of the Bulge air start for you at the end of this video to show you what I'm talking about. But the plane it rolls way too well, and it seems to, I can't figure it out. Sometimes I'll take it into a dive and it acts completely fine, and then it'll still roll. Like the compression doesn't affect the ailerons; it only controls the elevator. This flight model is really still a heavy work in progress. So. Is it necessarily the most overpowering thing I've ever flew from a, I've seen worse flight models come out of patches, but this thing is totally a work in progress. I think, if anybody is saying that this is an historically accurate flight model, I'd like to challenge you on that, because I have never flown anything like this in any game before. And especially, I kind of want to compare it to the old Beaufighter from, 1.27, 1.29, but this isn't it. I don't know what the hell this thing is. It's a beautiful looking plane though, I have to say that. So I'm climbing here in the middle of the map. I've actually been playing this thing a little bit more aggressively. I started out early in the day climbing to the side without the upgrades, and this thing is kind of hard to use at high altitude because the nose never goes where I want it, and I kind of have to do these weird rolling deflection shots to try to catch people in my the fucking ton 8 guns on this thing. I just kind of do these rolling attacks to try to get people caught in it, because I can never get the nose to go where I want it when I'm diving on people. And you'll probably see what I'm talking about in a second. But as you can see, it outruns everything in this tier. Spit 22, Spit 24s haven't been able to catch me. Tempest are struggling. Even Tempest 2s, surprisingly, that I've ran into, have a hard time catching this plane. BF-109K4s fully upgraded seem to have somewhat of a fighting chance. ME-410s, good night. I don't know. I haven't seen any jets with this thing. I haven't seen it. And some people said that they've been seeing HO-229s in this thing. I have not seen one yet. I've just been seeing kind of G6s, G10s, Spit 22s, like I said, and so on. So literally right now I'm just toying with the Spitfires, because there's no way in hell I'm going over there. Real quick though, I want to say that this plane's damage model is another thing that's not completely finished. I've noticed today. The wings, if the wings take a shot, this plane flies so weird. It's like it wanna rolls when you don't want it to roll. Like I don't know if it's almost acting like it's out of trim in some type of weird way. But if you take any damage to the wings, it'll just randomly just flop around like a fish, and it's kind of annoying. But I just made some hand movements like I'm flopping like a fish. I don't know why the hell I just did that. Anyway, so the wings are really fragile in this thing, and then the tail section, I actually have some footage for film montage. It's kind of funny. The tail section, you have to land this thing with all three wheels at a really low speed. If you at all touch that tail on the ground, the thing just snaps off violently and flies off. Which I'm not too bad off, but I'm just saying the tail section's really weird. This thing's weird. It's really weird. I'll put the footage later in the film montage of this thing going nuts. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the engines also seem to be, for Pratt & Whitney R2800s, they seem to be a little soft. Most radials in this game are soft, but this thing is constantly giving me coolant issues, either from wepping too much, from the tropical maps, or from just, you know, sucking in a 7.7 into a... Oh, that guy just got ripped in half. Sucking in a, you know, British 303 round to the radiator, or the fucking thing doesn't have a radiator, you know what I'm trying to say, the cylinders, you know, a random 303 round hits a cylinder and the thing just dies, which, like I said, this plane is a work in progress in many ways. You'll be seeing me. One thing I've known, if you're starting with this plane, every time you churn or you get to a lower speed, the flaps are magical in this thing. They're like, you'll do a knife edge churn like a freaking Honda Civic drifting. Like, this thing will just flip around, and it's quite disturbing. But if you do a knife edge churn in a Tigercat with and without the flaps, there's so much a noticeable difference. And usually that's with most planes. This thing is weird. It's like super flaps. I don't know how to describe it. Like I said, this thing is so hard for me to put on paper what it does. And here we go. I'm going to probably put this in somewhat aggressive dive. And you'll see the nose works fine when you kind of put it in the up and down. It's whenever I have to do like the left and right adjustments, this thing gets wobbly on me. Is the best way I can put it. Let's see, I'm going to put it right here. Tracking. If he pulls a churn right there. See, I want to pull left, but the nose goes all the way to the right there. Take the head on. And yep, right there. You see that the smoke engine? The head on was a stupid idea anyway, but you see the smoke coming off the right engine? That's the coolant right there. Even though it doesn't say the engine's damaged, it's slowly overheating now. So that's one thing I've kind of noticed with this plane, is you have to be really protective of it. She's not invincible. Dive back down. We see how, like, I'm always struggling to keep this thing trimmed. Even though it's RB and I'm using mouse aim, this plane just does not want to fly level. I'm always having to work to keep it straight. But damn is she quick. 445 on the deck right now, and it doesn't really lose energy. So let's keep it past here. Like, if you guys have any thoughts on this plane, see, there it goes. Right there, oil 2 is slightly rising above oil 1. It's a center alliance I found all day. Let's see if we can get here. That guy's training. There's no way in hell I'm training with that. I'm slowly bleeding energy off down here, but not as fast as I kind of think. I don't know if the plane's not heavy enough. I cannot figure out for the life of me what's wrong with this flight model. Just something is off. Or a lot of things are off. But like I said, I've seen worse flight models. Oh, that poor mosquito. That's all that firepower coming to edge. I'm using stealth belts with omnipurpose 20 stealth 50s with omnipurpose 20s. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just kind of that rolling attack. I didn't even really aim. And there's the flaps. Look at that churn. This is insanity. And this guy's dead. Oh wow. This is, I don't know who's, yeah. I'm just gonna be quiet for a minute as this happens. Alright, anyway, let's leave him alone. I'm not gonna try and fight that. Another Spitfire down there. So I don't know. I'm still debating on you know. I fly this plane more like a jet, and I'm actually doing things at speeds, and this plane will do things at high speeds that jets won't do. That's where I'm starting to have issues at. I'm pushing this thing up towards 500 miles an hour comfortably without repercussions. And I'll show you what I mean in the next clip I'll put, because this is perfect demonstration of what I'm talking about. This plane does not suffer from compression like it should, among other things. There's that, getting that nose. See, like I said, the nose just never goes quite where I want it. That guy's getting burnt up. Look at that. Oh, that's ugly. So anyway, that's a quick little round. Like I said, I've been getting about between 1 to 3 kills a game. I don't know. I don't. I wish I had a little bit higher battle rating. Hopefully in the new matchmaker system we'll see that. But I don't think it's as overpowered as I initially thought. But like I said, we'll get the Battle of the Bulge map here in a second, and that is overpowering what the hell they have this thing doing there. So, I'll show you the results for what I'm getting for rewards right now. That was a 2-kill game. Also remember, like I was trying to say, is if you load stealth belts and omni-purpose 20s, you can kill light pillboxes. And when you have the opportunity to kill 5, 10, 15 light pillboxes, you make a nice amount of XP and cash. So just keep that in mind, that this thing actually is a heavy fighter and a ground attacker. So here's the problem with Battle Bulge. Bomber spawn point. See that? Respawn base. Bomber spawn point. It spawns the damn F7F. I think it's like 15,000 feet. I'll see in a second here. Much higher than it should ever be. I'm sorry. 11,000 feet, or 11,500 feet we'll call it. It's about 10k-ish. And then we'll put WEP on. Zoom climb straight up to, call it 15 probably, before I have to put my nose back down. So all the 4 single-engine German fighters are now taking off, and I'm passing up to about 14,000 feet right now. Anyway, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I think I counted, I was up to 25,000 feet in about a minute 45 seconds one game. So it's crazy. The bomber spawn point is just, that's got to go. As soon as guys can patch this out, this was a complete oversight, a complete fuck up. This has to stop. Especially when these things are in packs, like of 4s and 5s like that behind me. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. I feel dirty, but I kind of feel like I need to put this in the video though, to understand why people are complaining about the F7F. You know, just to be fair for both sides. So here I am, 180 mph at 17,000 feet already, 17,500 feet. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what to do up here for all this altitude. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the patch. I really do. This is one plane that kept coming up in the 1.43 video that I kind of want to address and talk about more. I'm still confused by the flight model. It just needs a lot of work. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about all the Grumman frickin' planes need a little bit of work here and there, don't they? The Hellcat has always been a mess. The Wildcats I've always felt like are either over or under. There's a poor ME-410. Look at this guy. I mean, he used to be the king of this map. And now he's just a piece of lonely plankton at the bottom of the ocean. I'm gonna roll and dive on him, and see that nose, how it just kind of, nose is so weird on this thing, where it puts the nose. I don't understand. Anyway, so here's a demonstration real quick of why I include this clip. He just got smoked by another Tigercat behind me. Watch my speedometer. If you real quickly, you can, I'll put the speed in here of what that is in kph at my max speed. This I would never try to do in a Panther or an F80, or maybe even a Saber, because I kill myself. But the Tigercat don't give a shit. So this is like the boom and zoom plane from hell. 500 mph. I have never boomed zoomed anybody in my life in this game, or in my whole War Thunder life. I've never boom to zoom somebody at 500 mph. So I think that's pretty ridiculous. But like I said, it goes down, it comes back up, no punishment, it still rolls, no lockup. That's way past, you know, it's probably about 50, 60 miles an hour faster than its top speed in real life. So on the video there, don't get too used to this flight model, because I'm sure in 1.45 or maybe even sooner there'll be some type of adjustment to it. But I don't think it's as overpowered, except when it gets this crazy ass bomber spawn point. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said, I look forward to hear your thoughts on this plane. And you know, I understand a lot of you are disgusted with it. Some are, you know, I don't know. I really feel like this is one of the planes that was just kind of rushed into the last minute for this game. But anyway, thanks for watching.